Hello and welcome to Final Show Films. I'm the executive producer here, John Bates, and I've got a few pre-show notes for you. First of all, I'd like to thank our $25 tier supporters, Antitonic, Waterflame, Samantha Bates, and Maureen Montee, without whom we wouldn't be able to do much, especially not all the content that we put forward now. I also want to thank all the people that have joined on with us since the, I would say, successful experiment that was Midsummer Night's Dream. If you're interested in that, go check out our YouTube channel, where youtube.com/Sensaku, where we performed the world's first, as far as we're aware, live stream production of a community theater performance of A Midsummer Night's Dream. That sounds like a lot of qualifiers. It's more just because that's the way I talk. Please go enjoy them and give us feedback. Let us know if you'd like to see more of that in the future. If you'd like to support us financially, you can do so on our Patreon page at patreon.com/FSFilms. You can also follow us on Twitter at Final Show Films, or follow me personally at John A. Bates for all future updates and live notifications for our live stream. In the meantime, sit back, relax, enjoy.
And we're live.
Hello! My name is Mara, and I will be your narrator for the evening, which is very exciting and new. And we're going to introduce our players and characters for tonight. We're going to be running The Forest, which is a one-shot I've written for Dungeon World. So, starting with Erin.
Hi, I'm Erin. I will be playing April. Well, I use they, them. April uses she, her, hers. And yes, I'm the annoying reason that all of the character things have pronouns.
It's not annoying.
And words.
Important
thing.
Yes. Druid.
And I think I just decided on April's characterization.
There we go. All right, Jack.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jack. I'm going to be playing Tyrell, the elven ranger who has a hawk that he tries to keep under control most of the time, or at least as long as he can be bothered to, who has his own interests as far as what lies within the forest, shall we say.
And Erica.
And I am Erica, playing Amaya, the human paladin who is the defender of the people.
Ta-da! All right.
Yeah.
And first thing we're going to do, because Dungeon World kind of has this as part of the first kind of session thing, and I thought it would be interesting to show, is figure out bonds, which are connections between your character and someone else's character. And there are kind of standard options, and we're going to kind of talk these through and figure out who everyone's character is, what they're like, kind of figure out how this group is going to coalesce together a bit. So I think we can start. Does anyone have an initial one that they were interested in? Otherwise, I'll just choose someone. Jack.
Okay, so there was one on the character sheet for the ranger that says, blank is a friend of nature, so I will be their friend as well. And I think that would work really well for Tyrell and April.
All right. So friend of nature, and so you think there's some camaraderie there.
Yes.
We are both crunchy twig people.
Yes, we are.
All right. April, what do you think about Tyrell with Hawk, who occasionally goes? And I'm going to say that you all have kind of probably adventured a little bit together. You know each other. You're familiar with each other. So kind of where these bonds are coming from.
The Hawk's human pet. So there's one in the defaults that smells more like prey than a hunter, and I think that makes a lot of sense for April's regard of Tyrell.
Okay.
You're the
That actually fits really well with some of his character concept.
yeah.
All right. So it's maybe a little bit less ferocious than his hawk, and kind of, yeah. Not as impressed. All right. Maya, you're watching these strange people that you've somehow ended up with. What are kind of you have a quest, and one part of your quest is that you are the defender of someone. So who in this group are you defending? And I'm going to open it up and say that it doesn't have to be another PC. It could just be the Hawk. Because, I don't know.
I'm not sure, honestly. I've kind of just sort of jumped into the game, and I'm just sort of rolling with it.
Okay.
And I don't come up with things off the top of my head very easily.
Okay. All right.
Especially late at night.
All right. So let's leave that for now then. Do you have, what are some of the other bond options for you?
Some of the other bond options for me?
Yes, they give for each class. For each class they kind of give like some kind of form ones where you can put someone's name in. Let's see, Paladin.
Right. Yeah, no, I'm looking at it right now.
Mm-hmm. Blank's misguided behavior endangers their very soul. Blank has stood by me in battle and can be trusted completely. I respect the beliefs of Blank, but hope they will someday see the true way. Or Blank is a brave soul. I have much to learn.
I feel like going with has stood by me in battle and is a brave soul.
Okay.
As where I want to put Tyrell or April in. I'm not sure yet.
Okay. All right.
I know zero about either of them.
What about our characters, Mara, or do we want to leave that?
Yeah. Let's kind of flesh out what you think your character is right now.
Ooh, is this when we talk about archetypes?
Yes, that would be a good one. So archetypes is something I've added for this. So basically, in a myth, you usually have like the characters have like a type, right? So the example I gave for them all was Wizard of Oz. You've got the coward, you've got the lion, you've got a scarecrow, you've got a tin man without a heart, stuff like that. So, did anyone have thoughts on what they wanted their archetype to be? The fool, the trickster, anything like that. And your archetype's also going to give you something else. It's going to give you a signature moment. So at some point in the story, when you think you're acting really according to your archetype, you can kind of lean into that, and it basically gives you a free success. Because a lot of the times when you roll in Dungeon World, you're going to have varying successes or failures because the dice are terrible, and it's very easy to roll badly. And I'm very excited about this. But this is going to be one success. And then you can choose whether that kind of reinforces the archetype and you want the character to keep going on that, or if you think that changes them somehow. So
I was thinking for Tyrell of using the archetype of, which is a little stereotypical, but using the archetype of the hunter.
Okay.
The idea that maybe sometime in his past, either his family or a group of friends or just a tribe or something, that he was attacked by a monster. And he is one of the sole survivors, and he has sworn to hunt this thing down and end it. Make it stop threatening the forest at large. And it's that sort of balance between, am I doing this for vengeance? Am I doing this for protection? But I felt like there was a lot of different ways that could manifest.
Okay, so we have a hunter. Let's see.
So
and that's go for it.
I may have kind of misunderstood the question.
Oh, that's okay.
Was that as the party druid, it would make a lot of sense to be the animal guide.
Yeah, so this is less like your role in the group and more of your reason for being in the story. Right. So are you the one who fucks things up? Are you the one who kind of drives
episode of the librarians?
Right.
Yes.
I'm the sloth princess.
Okay.
So the wolf prince, but I don't turn into a wolf.
Okay. I'm less familiar with this archetype. Can you explain this to me more?
Sure. It's the Beauty and the Beast archetype. It's the beast. It's the human monster.
Okay. So human monster. So
I'm trying to think of.
Was it you that killed my family?
If other people are thinking of better words than I am, that's always
monster. So, do you want to be like more struggling with control over that, or more this could go different ways.
Or it could be maybe like a single character contrast.
I feel like that's a typecast by itself, but okay. Like,
are you like a misunderstood outcast because of your monstrosity?
yeah. Okay, we don't have to go with that one. Never mind.
Okay. All right. We'll figure it out. Amaya, did you have a thought for Amaya?
I did. I am the caregiver.
Oh.
I am the mom friend.
The mom friend. All right, I'm gonna put
I have lots of like love and compassion and energy to give, and I'm gonna give it to everybody.
Okay.
Watch out, dirty streaks on noses.
That's going to go great with my landlocked Captain Ahab motif that I'm sort of drawing on here.
I sense conflict already. All right. So we've got a caregiver and sort of a vengeance seeker. All right. Let's see. And so I am assuming then that you train this hawk. This explains a lot about the hawk then.
Yes, that's why he has fight monsters and searching, and he is ferocious.
Do you want to explain your animal companion a little bit?
Okay, so yeah,
you haven't done that.
Yeah, no. So the hawk's name is Larch, because that's the type of tree that I found him in when he was knee-high to a grasshopper. He has very keen senses and is quite ferocious. So that's going to be a lot of fun. He's kind of a I like to point him at things and then they die, and it's great. He's very skilled at searching things out. He knows how to fight both people and monsters, but he is difficult to control because I've sort of maybe leaned a little too hard into making him a murder bird. So he doesn't do well in times when the correct response is not kill it with beak and talon. So
okay, right.
But he is a slightly larger but still more or less normal size red-tailed hawk.
Okay, red-tailed hawk. All right. I know what those sound like.
Yes, everybody who's ever watched a movie knows what those sound like, because anytime they try and make it an eagle sound, they actually play a red-tailed hawk instead.
All right.
Tayrill is also a film nerd.
There you go. Yes, and just to clarify, setting-wise, this is kind of your archetypal forest. Like, it's an ancient forest, and there are things in it. Don't always know what those things are or where they go, but it's all in the forest. And
okay. I came up with a new one.
All right.
Pixie Dream Girl.
You're the manic pixie dream girl. Okay. Perfect.
I am.
Yes, that's the fairy tale archetype. Fight me.
I like it.
Oh
good.
Yeah.
It's
got the word pixie in it. Of course, it's fantasy appropriate.
Exactly. So
I smell like nature and remind the nebulous protagonist, I guess the other two, of the fundamental universe that they're seeking. I don't know.
Okay. Why? I think this is an interesting question that dovetails in. How did you attach yourself to the rest of this group? Or were you kind of the focus of people? They found you doing something and it was sort of catalyzed the group for me.
I just kind of like to go with the flow and be wherever I feel like being, and I feel like that's a real connection that we don't really get in this modern world. So,
all right.
So following where the stream does, or the waves. I guess it would be waves because I'm from an island.
Okay, there we go.
I am so here for this.
Yes, because April is from a jungle sort of environment. So this forest is a little bit drier and a little bit older than what you're used to. You're used to a young, like, vibrant sort of just sprouted out from the rocks kind of forest in a jungle. But you recognize this, and you recognize some kinship and stuff you're going to see in here. So that'll be interesting. All right. Pivoting back to Amaya, do you have any idea on which one of these two you would be most interested in kind of defending and standing up for?
Sounds like April.
Okay.
Yes.
You want to make sure April doesn't manic pixie dream girl her way into something terrible.
Yeah. Tyrell, he has a lot of anger and a lot of rage, and that needs to be soothed. But he's kind of like on the back burner of priorities, whereas April is forefront.
All right, there we go.
That sounds very fair.
So would that be more of a Tyrell's misguided behavior endangers his soul, or would it be like I respect I respect him, but it's just tone it down, man.
I feel like anger and revenge and all that stuff does endanger your soul. So I guess that first one.
Okay. All right. So I think that gives you bonds with both of them. Let's see. I think April. You kind of have this sort of. It's kind of. The hawk's much cooler than him. Toward
He smells like prey, so
Yes.
he's interesting.
Okay, interesting. Would April see that as a weakness or just a difference? Would be more neutral.
It's a difference. It's a
Okay.
different way. Everything's got its place. Everything's got its role.
All right, this is very
That's not
hippie
like
manic
ours.
sexy dream girl. I like it. All right. Bond with Amaya. Are you aware that she's kind of like stepped in to help you?
Mm-hmm. I like the idea, and feel free to say no, that the sort of by contrast, part of the reason I'm here is, of course, I'm following the flow, but the spirits also who spoke to me of a great danger for Amaya, because Amaya's questing and stuff.
Ah.
So, I guess it kind of goes both ways, but I'm not really, I don't know, it's a thing. It's flown together, and we're all here. Like,
So we're both seeking to protect the other.
Right. Good with both of you?
Yeah.
I like it. Okay. And Tyrell, you had kind of found a kinship with the natural world with April, but Amaya, they're kind of those two are they're trying to help each other, and you've got your own kind of vengeance mission. But how are you connected to Amaya?
I will leave this one up to Erica because there's two that I think could work. There's I have guided Amaya before and they owe me for it, or Amaya does not understand life in the wild, so I will teach them.
I'll go with the life in the wild.
Okay, that works
Yeah.
for me.
Amaya's never really been. I see her as like a soldier, or maybe
Right.
like a city guard previously. So
Soldier and a city guard. Okay. And we've kind of got our archetypes. So that's good. Let me see if there's anything else I need to do. I think that's pretty much it. Yep, we had already decided that. Okay. So I think that is all we need to do as far as defining our characters and where you are in the world and what you're doing. So, if everyone's ready, we're going to get started with the actual game part of this thing. Ta-da! So, you all are in the forest. Capital T, capital F. Which is this kind of dense stand of very old trees, and the part you're in right now is a part of the old growth forest that has seen some fire, in the past. The underbrush is thick here, it's much more dense, but you're in this kind of clearing, camped here, because even though it would be easier to find a place to set your tent, to erect your tent and kind of get a good night's rest, in the rest of the forest, it feels wrong somehow, being in the rest of this forest area. It's heavy, like the air is still, and you can smell this kind of dense rot as the dampness and the lack of sun and everything else has made mushrooms sprout up everywhere, and the wood is rotting. Every time you touch your hand to a tree as you're kind of like navigating around and sort of trying not to leave too much of a path because you don't know what's in here, your hand sinks into the wood a little bit and you can kind of feel grease on your fingertips as you move your hand away, and it's deeply unsettling. And so you've made camp here in this sort of brushy clearing. You had to clear the way a little bit with machetes and kind of taking all the brush away. You didn't want to burn anything because you didn't want to make a fire here because you could feel sort of this energy of something's not right. And so you go to an uneasy sleep in this tent. And partway through the night, who is on watch?
Me.
Okay, there was competition for the watch between Maya and Tyrell. You're both kind of sitting up for watch. It's better to keep watch with two people. You keep each other awake. It's good. You two probably don't talk to each other that much. It's a little bit awkward. And you...
Actually, I imagine Maya just chatting away.
Okay, all right. Never mind. There's a lot of chatter.
Mhm.
Tyrell, do you chatter back, or is it more like yeah?
Tyrell's probably a little more on the side of, oh, this one's a talker. This is a little overwhelming. I am going to nod quietly on occasion. The main things that might get said by Tyrell is if Amaya says something where he's like, yeah, no, that's not how life in the woods works.
Yeah, I'm trying to talk to you about mushrooms.
Okay. Yeah.
We've
If you point any particular ones out, he will tell you whether or not they're poisonous. That's probably the extent of his contribution.
And Amaya's got like a little notebook and she's jotting information. She's like, hey, what's the nutritious facts about this stuff? If you can eat it, is it good for you? How long does it take to cook? Do you like them cooked this way?
Yeah, and it's pretty much that level of conversation. As Tyrell, you get you hear your hawk fluttering around kind of nervously, and Larch he, right?
For Larch he, yes.
He, okay. He sort of gives a warning cry as you can suddenly hear sort of footsteps, squelching footsteps, sort of, and a branch snapping. And then a bright light goes on outside the tent, basically like a spotlight kind of illuminates the side of the tent that you're kind of sitting near, and you can't see very far into it from this angle. It's basically like shining right in both of your eyes. And April, you would probably wake up from this. It's quite bright, and there was noise
up, arrow on the string.
Okay.
I mean, assuming he has a bow or something.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Maya also stands, but she has not drawn her halberd. That's the
Okay.
leftover. Her
All right.
chose. She's more like her demeanor has changed from that friendly chattiness to like this kind of like stern defender, I guess.
Okay. Yep.
She's
On
an
guard.
allergic posing woman, so
Okay. On guard. As April, you stretch.
I'll wander around, look around, see what's new.
All right, and you kind of wander off to the side, and you can see what the rest, the two of them cannot, because they're kind of focused on. It's a bright light. What is out there? And you wander off to the side, and you can see there are two figures. There is one, sort of, very tall, very thin. Cannot see eyes. It's just a face without the eyes. Tall.
Like, with no eyes in the eye sockets, or just
There are
skin?
no eye sockets. It's just smooth. Yep.
Merrily, got it.
Yep. Just no eyes. Very tall. With kind of doing this sort of hand gesture, like nervous, kind of clutching hands in front of chin. And on the other side of them, you see a short, squat, wide figure sort of staring ahead. And this is the one with, it looks like a torch, like a hooded kind of lantern spotlighting at the tent, at the two of them as they were standing guard. Long arms, like orangutan long, like dragging on the ground, and sort of staring ahead, and then shutters the light back, and the rest of you blink, and it takes a moment for your eyes to adjust, and you can see these two figures as well.
Hi, I'm April. Nice to meet you. What's your name?
April waves, and the shorter figure, male, waves back. We had need of you.
well then welcome friends. And Amaya gestures to, I guess Tyrell and Amaya had been sitting on like two logs, and there was at least a third log, and she sort of gestures to it. Come closer and sit with us.
Yes. And you can see he sort of glances up at the taller, thinner figure, like looking for confirmation. And the other one nods and comes and sits down. The shorter figure does not. He's kind of standing behind the taller one, who just sort of sits, still doing this sort of
April will go to the logs and spend probably longer than is necessary pulling herself up onto the log so she can sit on it, because they're shaped for
taller people than you. It is. These are large trees in this forest, and yes, it's slightly too big.
Can I get anything off of these characters? Because I'm assuming these are not the normal sort of people one encounters in the forest. Have I heard any stories about them or anything?
Yeah, that's going to be, I'm going to say, that's going to be a discern realities roll. So you're trying to ask something about the situation. Is there something that I should be nervous about?
Yes.
Or what is about to happen?
Oh, okay,
or,
yeah, let me look.
What should I be on the lookout for? I'm going to do that one.
Okay, sounds good. Okay. And I assume Larch can't help me with that.
Not really. Let's see. Not really for this, because it's not a physical thing. You're kind of determining what you know about the situation, what you can kind of read off of their senses. Larch is kind of yeah, that would be more an animal with higher instinct would probably be able to help you with that, but he's not great at that.
Okay. So, 2d6 plus my
Wisdom.
Okay.
Yes.
So 2d6
First
plus
roll of the night.
Yeah, here we go. That's a total of 4.
Okay.
I told you these
So-
were great dice.
The wonderful thing about Dungeon World is that you can get the when you fail, which happens fairly frequently, stuff happens, and it's very fun and interesting. And the other, you can fail or succeed, and then the other option is if you get somewhere in the middle, you can fail with consequences or fail with conditions, which are my favorite kind of roles. But Jack has failed, so what happens is, let's see,
Tacos.
So you're not entirely sure about any of this. You have never heard of these figures before in your entire life. They're kind of off-putting. You're a little bit on edge from from being in this forest. You're not really sure what's going on. Amaya seems to be welcoming and friendly, and they've responded to it. But Amaya is welcoming and friendly to probably a lot of people. Just initially, I'm just gonna throw probably.
They need to give me a reason not to be.
Exactly. You think the best of people, and that is commendable. But Tyrell, not you're just making the sound in your mind.
Okay.
Yep.
Good to know.
Yep. All right.
I missed something.
What?
My internet connection
Oh,
wavered.
Okay.
So it went from Tyrell to interesting.
Okay. So Tyrell is not sure about their intentions, anything about them.
I got a bad feeling.
Could not pick anything up. But Amaya, you were being welcoming and sort of. Yep. So,
I mean, I can make my own discern realities roll.
if you want to, yes, go for it. It'd be plus wisdom, 2d6 plus your wisdom score.
Okay.
And are you trying to determine kind of the same thing as Tyrell? Are they trustworthy? Are they, or what you know about them? What are you trying to determine here?
I assume I wouldn't know much about, fantastical creatures of the forest. That's what I got Tyrell for.
Okay. It's working
So
well.
more of a general intuition about, their behavior, what kind of feelings they give me, that sort of thing.
All right.
So I'm going to roll 2d6, and I'm not so sure what I'm adding to that.
2d6 plus your wisdom modifier. So let me pull up your sheet real quick so I can tell you where to find it and what the number is. Here's our paladin. So your modifier is basically the one in the circle, that white circle.
Right.
So your wisdom is going to be a +0. So you don't add anything to that roll. You just roll the dice and see what you get.
I got a 4 as well.
Oh!
So,
You're also unsure, but your conclusions might be different than Tyrell's. You have no
I'm
idea.
unsure.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know nothing. But they haven't given me a reason to
Exactly.
be wary yet. So
All right. So that's
some friends and be merry.
April.
realities roll for who is really in control here?
Yes, you can. Go for it.
I think that's what the thing is.
Yeah.
The +2 wisdom. Because we should fail together. But that's an 8 + 2, so a 10.
Nice. That is a success. All right. So you get to actually ask 3 questions
Oh,
because you rolled so well.
okay, cool.
So, who's really in control? Currently, let's see. So, you saw the shorter one kind of look up at the taller one, like looking for confirmation. So, it seems like he didn't kind of show any sort of deference toward the taller figure, so you don't think it's in charge, but it's definitely the shorter one seems to be kind of deferring to the taller one's judgment, at least right now. They're definitely kind of both on edge with this too. Like, both groups are basically going at each other with their hackles up,
Right.
at this point, except for Amaya, whose sort of initial approaching of things is not hackles up, but Tyrell's definitely doing that.
Yeah. And second question.
Yes.
What here is useful or valuable to me?
Okay, so you notice that the shorter figure, kind of dragging sort of arms on the ground as he walks forward, seemed more comfortable, for one thing, when the light was away. Like, he was holding the lantern, but he looked more at ease when it was dark. And you can also see that as his arms drag along the ground, he's sort of leaving furrows. He seems very in tune with the earth. In contrast, taller figure is barely walking on the ground. As
just a question about the things you've already said, not a like extension of the question. Did you say that there was like a fire thing or like a magic lantern?
Oh, yeah. It's was a very bright light. It doesn't seem to be fire. Definitely not fire. You didn't see any of that kind of telltale flickering of a flame or anything like that. It was quite bright. The equivalent of a flashlight, but yeah.
Yeah, got it. And the third question is, what's about to happen? Which I guess is a great segue.
All right. What's about to happen is they want to talk. From what you can tell, the offer to ask for assistance seems genuine. From the way they're kind of both on edge and but willing to approach, this seems to be a genuine asking for assistance. And they say, as you kind of segue back into it, we need your help with a situation that's arisen. And the shorter figure speaks up. Someone has died in the forest, one of the gods, as we are, and it needs to be rectified, or this will continue to happen. And you can kind of see he looks down and looks concerned and slightly disgusted, and picks a mushroom from between his toes and flicks it off to the side. And then looks down at the ground, and now he's gone sort of sullen.
One of the gods, as you say you are, has perished.
Yes. It was unfortunate, but it needs to be fixed. The sun has gone missing from the sky. And this tracks with what you all have experienced. Like, there's light, there is night and day, definitely, but you don't see a sun.
Mm-hmm.
And we'd like you to find him. He's been broken a little bit.
Okay.
And we buried him. The shorter figure goes. In 2 different spots, you have to find the pieces, and there is a well in the center of the forest.
Okay.
Where if you put the pieces into the well, it will be fixed. Please do this for us. Sort of turns away. He's much more abrupt and kind of just says things as compared to the other sibling. Will you help?
Well, of course. How can a mere mortal as myself refuse a quest from the gods?
Some have failed at this. I wish you luck.
Tyrell kind
Stands
of rolls
up.
his eyes. But he's much more relaxed now than he was when they first showed up.
Okay.
Where should we start our search?
To the east, there is a tunnel, and you'll find it buried at the end there. I hope you brought shovels. And they've stood up, and is there anything else you require, or we'll be going? And turns to leave.
Fine.
April. What you doing?
I think I
Just said fine? Okay, sorry. I misheard.
No, I said okay. As they get up to leave, I say, pieces. What kind?
Broken. Torn. The shorter figure interrupts. Torn in two. They'll fit back together.
What did that?
Both of them look at the ground.
Oh, so it was them.
Do you say that out loud?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. He knows you don't talk to gods.
All right.
But he's going to try and discern realities again.
Make that roll. Plus wisdom.
That's a 6.
Okay. That's a fail.
That's a fail.
You have made your assumptions.
Okay.
We're just gonna leave that.
Yep.
I want to discern realities again.
All right. Go for it.
Welcome to Final Show Films, where the only thing we roll consistently is insight checks.
3.
Yes.
I also cannot tell.
No idea.
My mom instincts do not work on gods.
No. So actually, this is... Yep. It's good. All right. Yeah, you have no idea. April, would you like to also discern realities?
Sure.
Okay.
Do that.
He's done the best so far.
Yeah. That's a 6 plus 2, so I think that's a
8.
partial success. Yeah, 8.
Yep, that's an 8. Yep. It's partial success, so you get to choose one question.
So given that they're kind of looking at the ground and talking about what did this, what happened here recently?
Yes, that's a good question. Yeah, they definitely did it.
Okay, cool. I don't really have a value judgment on that.
Yeah, it seems, yeah,
It's a thing that happened. Everything's a thing that happened. Even the stuff that might be bad to some people.
Gods kill each other all the time. It's no big deal.
I'm keeping that to myself for the moment, but
All right.
I like that I am always the character.
Well, you all, some of you mystified, some of you convinced of your own just sort of internal, like, yeah, that's what happened, because that just, yeah.
That tracks.
And then some of you kind of noticing what's going on and seeing sort of the body language and the where the conversation went. The gods leave, and you are left with a new quest that's not going to interfere with your old one, Amaya. But you have a quest. You have been given the task of finding the two halves of this god, who is buried, one at a place behind a tunnel and one somewhere else, and finding the pieces and reuniting them in a well. So we'll see how that goes. What would you all like to do? Do you set out right away? Do you wait until the morning, until dawn, or are you going to plan at dawn? What are you going to talk about what just happened, Amaya or April? Because you had kind of noticed something but didn't want to say anything in the moment. What happens next?
Give me a moment. I'm trying to read one of the action things.
Okay.
Sorry.
That is all
yeah,
right.
Once they're gone, April will sort of... So what are we going to do?
But Maya looks at the sky, and I'm going to go ahead and assume that it is pitch black.
Yes.
And she's like, well, we can't go anywhere right now.
Probably wise.
It's also probably easier to look for pieces of the sun during the day.
Yeah, probably.
Well, if it's an actual piece of the sun, I feel like something that shines would probably be brighter at night.
Can I spout lore?
Yeah.
Indicate this one way or the other?
Go for it. So, yeah, spout lore. So that's going to be roll plus intelligence.
Right.
And
so -1.
Yes.
Wonderful.
That's not actually all that bad. That's a 8 total.
8. All right, that's a mixed success. So I will tell you something interesting, but you'll have to figure out how to make it useful.
Yeah.
So let's see. And what we were trying to spout lore about whether it's a good idea.
Well, we've
to
been trying to
or
figure out
just
whether or not
gods.
the sun, pieces of the sun, would be easier to find during the day or the night.
Okay, all right. So your first kind of instinct tells you that during the night would be better. But you also know that traveling through the forest at night is a little bit harder, especially because these are day people. You've got this knight who's wandering around with you, who probably can't see that well in the dark. I mean, humans.
And goes clink, clink, clink whenever she moves.
Exactly, that too. And you've got this ranger and his hawk, who are also better at seeing things, but better in the day.
Mm-hmm.
So, kind of either way. And the other thing you know is that this forest is creepy. It's all get out. And hearing things, seeing shapes in the dark is a whole lot different and scarier at night.
Okay.
You see a shape in your room in the day, you know what it is. You can see, oh, that's a box. At night, it is a monster.
And given our ability to discern realities, that's probably important. Yeah. Okay. So April will sort of, brighter, but probably casting deeper shadows into the mucky already darkness. And then there's knowing our own strength. But then there is the now and the urgency and the
So you're saying we travel in the daytime?
yeah, maybe. We're more like
I trust your wisdom.
All right. So you decide, based on April's advice, to wait. into the morning when you'll be able to see, and it won't quite be so eerie and strange. And you've just gotten a command from a pair of gods who, April, you know they're definitely murderers. I mean, that's a thing. It's not terrible, but it's still like slightly strange.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Especially to someone as important as the sun. But you decide to wait.
Keep this back together, or they're making us do it. So.
All right. And so you wait until the morning when you set out across the forest. So traveling, you're undertaking a perilous journey now. So you get to travel, which the ranger is helpful with.
Yes, he is. Especially when he's an elf ranger.
Yeah. So you have 3 jobs that have to be filled. Conveniently, you have 3 people in your party, so good on you. You've got the trailblazer, the scout, and the quartermaster. So the trailblazer is basically the person like clearing the path, like physically, to make sure that you don't step on something poisonous, fall into kind of quicksand area, anything like that. The quartermaster is going to be the one kind of keeping track of supplies and kind of being the timekeeper to make sure you're on schedule. And then the scout is going to keep an eye out. So, what would you all like to do?
Quartermaster?
All right.
I mean, it's probably
Mama
better
did.
that someone that needs rations keeps track of the rations.
It's true.
Tyrell will wait and see what April decides she wants.
I'll be the trailblazer.
All right.
Excellent.
April's going to lead the way. And Tyrell, I assume that means you're going to go scout.
Me and my keen-eyed hawk are gonna go scouting.
Yes. All right. So everyone with a job is going to roll plus wisdom. Because you have your hawk with you.
Actually, before you say that, as an elf, I have the racial feature. Whenever I undertake a perilous journey through wilderness, whatever job I take, I succeed at as if I rolled a 10+.
There we go.
Just
you
automatically.
Do not have to roll.
Okay.
You do not have to roll. Okay. All right. So Tyrell goes out with his hawk and just sees
Scouts
everything.
the shit out of everything.
Yep. And you managed to kind of steer the group around. There's sort of a boggy area that you kind of step around. You first send her out to find kind of the tunnel, and she can see this sort of stand of silvery birches that kind of matches what you're describing, comes back and sort of like indicates that way. And so you start to clear a path. The rest of you are going to have to make your rolls to see how you're doing with your jobs.
That's the stat for that's wisdom, right? Oh.
Yes.
Well, I'm going to have to fail eventually. That's 2 ones, which makes it a 4.
Okay. And 7 for Amaya? Okay. So, let's see.
Sorry, guys. I fail when
All
it
right.
happens. That's my version of the dice curse.
So, the rations, you're using up your rations, but it's kind of as you expect, Amaya. So, you're kind of keeping track on things. No one else is eating you bring trail mix, and no one else is eating it because they don't need to. I mean, you probably
I think I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. All right. Tyrell
My
eats.
homemade trail mix.
Yep. April does not. Well, April, would you accept? You don't need food, but you can still eat if you want to. Amaya offers you trail mix.
It's really
you
good.
present it with the words trail mix.
What's the name of that stuff? It's like puppy chow, or like it's made with like peanut butter
Oh,
and powdered
goodness.
sugar.
Yeah.
No, I'm asking you
Yeah.
to say this is trail mix when you give it to her.
You can describe it how you want to.
Yeah, actually, because trail mix makes sense. It's a quick, sweet, fun, but still nutritious sort of thing that you mix for the trail. So it's a trail mix.
And Amaya explains this to you as she hands it to you.
Yeah. Like, I say, here, have some trail mix. And then you make the face where you just like, what? And then she explains it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I wouldn't leave it on the trail to route your map back, but we can.
No, you eat it. It's food.
Oh, I don't need to. It's fine.
Okay. That's fine.
You have to get your nutrients from nature, from the trees.
This is from nature, distantly.
Bogginess.
All right.
Is she eating a mushroom? Is April eating a mushroom?
She doesn't seem to be eating anything. She will occasionally like look up at the non-existent sun and nutrients.
You are skinny as a stick.
April
But
is
she's
attempting
photosynthesizing. Right?
photosynthesizing. Yes, and you can see April's got like flowers in her hair,
My hair
and they
is-
open up.
Yeah.
You're
The
a flower
flowers
child.
are clearly not just things I put in my hair. They
Mhm.
are
Extensions
grow.
of herself. Yes. Mhm.
Amaya makes a mental note on how to feed flower children.
Oh my god, I'm actually a flower child. That's intentionally excellent part of this.
This is beautiful. All right. So, however, April, in your eating of this trail mix, you are sort of having some trouble with the trailblazing part of this. It's difficult to move through. You get scraped up. You get mud like half to your midsection because you fall through a section and you didn't realize. Terrell sort of notices it, and then you are paying attention to something else and kind of walk through it. It's difficult. It takes you all longer than you thought it should. Even with Terrell's kind of routing you around things, just because of the pace you're moving. It takes a little bit longer. It's about a little after midday by the time you get to this tunnel of trees, which are sort of these silvery birches, sort of grown over and sagging weirdly, like they've gone sort of like a limp flower type of thing. Like the stems have wilted and they're sort of bowed in on each other. And it's forming sort of an arched roof, and it's fairly narrow. Like you think you can only fit one person at a time in this. So you know that at the end of this is a buried piece of the sun. Who's going first?
Terrell is. I love how Erica and I are always like, pick me!
So you both walk toward it and you get stuck, and you have that moment as like both people walking through the doorway and not gonna work.
Sorry. I
So while they're going,
gonna
sorry,
go first.
at each other, I just slide past them.
All right.
Cause halfling.
All right, I like this. All right, so April slides past as you two are sort of like doing, oops, sorry, no, that didn't mean. And April goes through and begins walking down.
I
And-
look at Hero and I'm like, I'll bring up the rear.
Fair enough.
All right, Terrell follows after with
Larch. Yep.
and Amaya goes next. As you begin walking down this tunnel, it stretches, and you have that moment of you're walking forward and you look behind and they're there, and you look behind again and they're much farther away, but you're still as far away from the start of the tunnel as you were. And we're going to have some stuff that happens because this is where we're going to keep working on our characters, because this is a story about this is a myth about families and things like that. And you all at one point had or have a family. What's your relationship with your family, April? Do you have siblings? How many? Do you get along with them how did you leave, and how did you end up kind of wandering around trying to find oneness with the forest in your way?
Well, for a druid, part of the reason I can take the form of beasts is because they are my family, because they lend me that form. So I guess my dad was a tree and my mom was probably an acorn. Or maybe it's the other way around. There were ones that looked more like this form. But I preferred talking to the birds, so I just didn't talk to the ones that didn't talk to the birds.
All right. And you were from a jungle on an island specifically, right? You want it? Yeah, on an island. How did you leave the island? What happened? Why did you leave this forest? Because you had roots there at one point.
I did. I still do. Those roots are now inside me. They go into my brain through the flowers. The flowers' roots are nestled in my brain, and they're just like sort of messed in there. It's really fun when I get a head wound because you can see the roots. But yeah, well, one day I was talking with some of the fish and they were being mean, so I decided to play with them. And I became one of the fish that has the big teeth and started chasing them with big teeth. And then the tides came and the tides flew one way and the other and they got away and I started going the way the tides were going. And when I had hands again, I was on a different beach. So I followed the wind where I wanted to go, which was wherever I was going.
All right. That's good. So, let's see. And you have sort of a strength from this. What is your character's like greatest strength? And this can be a physical thing or it can be like a mental way they approach things.
I have the light touch of a breeze.
Okay.
I can push things over and leave untouched.
All right. You have a light touch. So you're walking along this tunnel and you kind of notice that in this part, the mushrooms have grown much denser, and they've changed a little bit. There's some of them are actually starting to look like ones that you remember from back home. The ones that you had previously seen, they were all random ones, and Amaya kept pointing them out to you, and you thought they were interesting, and you were trying to learn a little bit about what they were. But you recognize some more of them, and interspersed with them, you see a lot of little ones that you don't recognize, and you kind of turn to maybe show Amaya and see if she knows what they are, but you don't know. She's too far away, and you try and go closer to her, and you can't get closer. And she's too far away to yell. But you've got all these mushrooms in front of you, and she's going to come after you, you know. She's going to follow you. But if you crush these mushrooms, you're not going to be able to show them to her, and you're not... You don't want to hurt these things that are interesting, and you don't know quite what they are, but you think you could maybe get past them.
They're interesting, and I don't quite know what they are, but I sort of want them protected.
Mm-hmm.
I eat the mushrooms.
You eat them. Okay. So, I'm going to have you make, let's see, what am I going to call this roll? Are you trying to see what they do themselves, or are you trying to do a squirrel thing where you're putting them like in a pouch in the side of your mouth so that you can show Amaya later?
I think it's more of a assimilate.
Okay. You just want to absorb it. All right. That's going to be a roll plus your constitution then, because
Great.
you don't know what these are.
No, I have no idea. This is a horrible plan. But, that's going to be a cumulative 8.
Okay. All right. Mixed success. So this is going to sort of amplify some things about you. So some stuff's going to happen later. You've got, besides strengths, you have a weakness. And this is going to amplify this weakness a little bit. But right now, you've definitely assimilated them, and you can now tell Amaya all about them. You know exactly what these are. They are basically... these can be used in healing. These are would basically allow you to use one of your healing spells without having to make a roll for it.
My healing spell usually require a roll.
Casting spell? Wait, your
Sorry,
halfling
the
then.
thing that says halfling healing.
Oh, that's right. I don't think it actually does require.
I don't get spells.
Okay, never mind. Sorry, I'm confused about rules.
I can put the text of what you told me in chat.
Yep, healing song. Yes. Okay. Yes. So that's going to let you make a healing song without having to make a camp and rest.
Okay, cool.
Yep. Yeah, so it's like an instant one instead of having to kind of like take some time and sort of sing or tell a story, however you inspire and kind of soothe your
song
friend.
from Tangled, because I couldn't come up with a better one.
Okay, perfect. All right, so you have that.
All right, cool.
All right, sweet. And you walk through and you see a clearing. We're going to pivot back to let's see, Tyrell, you were next.
Yes.
With Amaya taking up the rear. So you're walking forward and you see April turn and kind of look back and pause. She looks kind of a little bit concerned. And then she turns back around and leans down, picks something up, and puts it in her mouth, and then walks forward and she disappears.
I feel like I'm used to her at least picking up weird shit and putting it in her mouth.
Definitely.
So that's probably not too worrisome to me. Mm-hmm. But the vanishing bit is a little odd.
The vanishing bit is a little odd, and if you look behind you, you can see that Amaya has followed you, but she's much farther back than she should be. This is a little bit tunnel vision-y. It's a little bit odd. You kind of feel like things have stretched out a little bit, and we're going to talk about you and your family.
Okay.
So you had a tribe, and they all were killed by a monster.
Yes.
When did this happen? When you were really little?
No, it was probably sometime within the last decade or so.
Okay.
It's reasonably recent as far as I'm assuming elves probably still have the slight longevity thing going for them in this setting. So yeah, probably within the past decade or two.
Important question. How old is Tyrell? Not numbers wise, but like, are you younger, like a young adult, child, or middle age, elderly?
Where are ya? He's young adult, on the younger side of young adult.
Okay.
Yeah.
So kind of just finding his way
Right.
when this happened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. And let's see. And you had family? You had close family at the time, or were you kind of stretching?
No, it was his home, tribe, village, what have you. He came back from probably some sort of hunting expedition or scouting, some sort of travel that he was on, probably as part of an apprenticeship or something like that, to find... It wasn't a very big village. It was probably no more than 10 families tops.
Mm-hmm.
And just the huts were completely crushed in. There were body parts everywhere. It was a massacre, but just with these huge tracks in it that made it fairly apparent what had happened.
Okay. All right. And you had an apprenticeship, so you had someone who was teaching you. Who were they?
They were another elf. They were a merchant. And he was initially probably being apprenticed to take whatever sort of products that this village had. You take them to market, you sell them, or trade for what supplies we actually need. You bring it back. And it was on the return trip that this event happened. And he immediately was like, "This apprenticeship is not for me anymore." It turned his worldview very sharply.
Okay, so your apprentice kind of master is still alive then. You had kind of gone out on this journey, and on the way back you were kind of hunting, and you made your way back, and that's when you stumbled upon the village and saw what happened.
Yes.
So you left, and you haven't have you spoken to your master again at this? They probably... Were they happy that you were kind of going on this vengeance, or saddened by your turn?
Probably
your
saddened.
Who you were?
I feel like their initial...
You've muted yourself.
Oh, whoops. Probably saddened. I think their initial thought was, we need to see if there are any survivors and see if we can salvage anything. Tayrol was like, no, we're pretty much the only two left. Whatever village, tribe, family we once had is gone, and there's no reason to stay here. Everything is dead and gone and ruined.
Okay.
You know.
All right. And what is Tayrol's greatest strength? This isn't what he thinks is his greatest strength. What is his greatest strength?
Tayrol's greatest strength is determination. He's not going to stop. He's not going to give up. He will drop in the pursuit of this quarry, as far as he's concerned. Yeah.
All right. So you're kind of walking along, and you see April vanish, and you have that momentary like, oh, that's not good. What did she do this time? Kind of thing. But so you have that moment of panic, and you sort of start walking a little bit faster. You want to catch up and make sure that nothing's horrible has happened, because you just saw her vanish. And you keep walking, and the corridor opens up for you. There's now a lot of different options. You see April in each one of them. She is standing in some of them. On one of them, she is leaning heavily against a tree. She looks injured. In another one, she's lying on the ground. And in another one, you just see blood on the ground, just smeared. And there are all of these options, and they begin to kind of expand, and you look around and there are options all around you. You don't see Amaya behind you anymore. It is just options of April in trouble or standing on her own, walking toward, you can see light and it looks like a clearing, but there are options. Which one are you taking? And you can describe a different one than what I described.
Okay. I think he sees one where she's being menaced by a threat.
Okay.
Probably not what he thinks the monster is, but just she's in peril from an external force, and he dives right into that one to try and murder whatever it is.
All right. And you run toward this one where April is kind of standing, and you see something big and tall kind of reach down and clawed fingers sort of going for her head. And you rush forward and bring out, what's your weapon of choice?
He's an archer.
Bow?
Mm-hmm.
Archer? Okay. Mm-hmm. And you bring out your bow and sort of rush forward and then stand. And as you release the arrow, you're standing in a clearing. April is right in front of you.
Did I just shoot at April?
No, you have your bow out.
Oh.
You have your bow out. You haven't grabbed the arrow yet. You have your hand behind you ready to pull, but you stop yourself in time. And we're going to shift back to Amaya. So, Maya, you are walking through and you see Tyrell run. Just grab his bow and run and grab an arrow, and then he vanishes. And you're walking through this strange tunnel, and we're gonna ask about, where did Amaya come from? You were maybe part of a city guard. You met April at some point, kind of saw who she was and kind of the potential there, and you followed to make sure that she kept going. She can. This is good. But you had a family at one point. Who were they?
Yeah. Amaya has a very large family.
Okay.
She is the oldest of 8. From a family that would be, well-to-do if there wasn't so many of them. So she had already been taking care of people since she was old enough to hold a baby. And then her mom died with the 9th baby, so she was like the primary caretaker of all of these children.
All right. Is Amaya older, or kind of at this point, like this is the point where the youngest ones have kind of grown up and you can finally leave and do your own thing? Or did you leave before all of your siblings sort of grew up? Where are you in your life?
At some point, Amaya's father, like the primary source of income, would have either like gotten sick or injured or just too old or even died. I'm not sure yet. I haven't thought much about him.
Okay.
And Amaya joined the city guard to have that sort of good, steady income to help take care of her siblings. So Amaya, age-wise at this point, is going to be like 30 or maybe beyond.
Okay.
And her youngest sibling is going to be in their late teens.
Okay, so they've sort of started to stand on their own, sort of figured it out. At least you're hoping so.
Maybe about like
tell them how to or try and help them find their own place in the world. But you found this, and this feels pretty good.
Yeah, about 5-ish years ago, I think she would have gotten the attention of a god.
Okay, all right. And you've kind of felt this calling and this need to take on a quest of some sort, and so you left. All right, and so you see Tyrell take off running. And yep, that's not good. You know that April was in front of him, not entirely sure what's going on. Are you going to rush after, or are you going to trust that Tyrell knows what he's doing and how to protect April.
Tyrell knows what he's doing, and Amaya is not entirely dumb to know that, April can't take care of herself in some measure.
Oh, yeah.
So she kind of looks behind her one more time because she's the rear guard. She's supposed to be watching the rear.
Mm-hmm.
And then she walks briskly, quicker than she had before, forward to sort of try and catch up.
As you glance behind, you see something, actually. You see a... Well, let's get to the next question first. What's Amaya's greatest strength as a person?
Her kindness.
Her kindness? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What is her kindness like? If you see someone about to make a mistake, how do you react?
What kind of mistake?
A mistake that's going to harm them, but not anyone else. They're going to hurt themselves, but they'll probably be okay. But it's going to make things a lot more difficult for them. Do you try and tell them? Are you trying to give them a solution? Are you trying to just stop them from doing a thing? How interfering is your caring?
Soothing.
Okay.
Approaching, soothing, and what's providing herself as a empathetic shoulder to lean on.
Okay.
The kind of one where, yeah, if you're going to continue waving that knife around at yourself, I'm going to grab it, but I'm going to give you the option to give it to me first.
Okay, perfect. So you see, as you look behind you, a vision. And you know this is a vision. This is a vision of the past. This is something that has happened. And to figure out what you're seeing kind of from this vision, what Amaya is picking up from this, I'm going to have you make a discern realities roll for me.
Hey, 10.
Nice. Okay. So you're going to get a couple of things out of this. You're going to get 3 answers. Since I was asking the question, I'm going to just give you kind of what I think will be useful for you. If you have a specific one you want, we can kind of go from there. So you see, and you know it's immediately the sun, who is a tall, extremely handsome man, kind of long hair in dreadlocks, sort of walking forward, and he's clutching kind of at his back and kind of turns and coughs, and you can see blood come out, and he's got 2 arrows stuck in his back, and then you can see that his ankle is not straight. He looks in a lot of pain, and he turns. He turns and screams behind him, and you can hear him shout, "Earth and sky," and then a string of obscenities, just deeply calculated to be deeply wounding and hurtful. And then he flares up into brightness, too bright, and you have to look away, and you blink, and that's when you can see the rest of the clearing. And so you've determined some things from this. The son was indeed killed by his brothers, siblings. That definitely happened. So you know that now, which you didn't know before. And he retaliated in anger. And he was also hurt. And you didn't see those wounds heal when he flared into light. You just saw anger and rage. And you know that to put these pieces back together without addressing sort of the emotions that caused this to happen, it might work, but it might not last. And that is what you get from the vision. And that is where we're going to take a break for about 10 minutes. We will be back for the second half of the program. Hopefully everything is going well. And we will see you in a little bit. Goodbye for now. 10 minutes.
We're back.
Welcome back. So this is the second part of this Dungeon World one-shot, The Forest, where our group of heroes are traveling through this forest to try and find two halves of the broken sun who has been murdered by his brothers, the earth and the sky, and they have to find the pieces and figure out how to put them back together while sort of dealing with their own stuff. So you all have made it through this tunnel, and you find yourselves in this clearing where you can fairly easily see a mound of earth. Tyrell having drawn his bow and reaching for an arrow as April's in front of him. And Amaya, you kind of seeing this thing behind you just sort of step forward in this sort of haze of, well, that was a lot of information. And you see Tyrell with bow almost ready to go. Larch has completely sort of flown off after kind of you stumbled through Tyrell, and is sort of circling around, giving this cry on edge because you are. Swoops back down, sort of perches on your arm, sort of kind of moving unsettled, like he's unsettled, sort of.
I look and see if there are any, like, small animals around or anything else in this clearing.
Okay, that's gonna be discern real, or not discern realities. What am I gonna call that? We don't have to roll for that. Yeah, there are some small, like, there are insects. You can definitely see insects because this forest, sorry, is sort of semi-rotting, and so you can kind of see like an overturned tree stump, and you see some centipedes in there, and something black and scaly, sort of looks like a snake that kind of swoops around out of sight as you all rushed into this clearing.
Send him after the snake.
Okay. Send a message to the snake. What are you telling the snake? What are you saying?
No, I'm sending Larch after the snake. Go get him, boy.
Okay, all right. In that case, that is going to be a hack and slash, as it's going to have to attack the snake.
Larch is? Okay.
Yes, Larch is going to have to attack the snake.
Does he get anything for ferocious or savage or fighting? No, not.
Yeah,
it's not a monster snake, right?
It's not a monster snake.
Okay.
But I am going to say, like, he's on edge. He's kind of, and you're sending him after a thing to eat. To attack, and he's kind of into that. So I'm gonna say that's gonna be let's do a +2 for his dexterity and +1 because of his savage, ferocious nature. So that's gonna be +3.
+3. He gets a 14 total.
Yeah. It's very, very dead.
Hawks like eating snakes.
And gives a satisfied sort of screech of approval. And you can hear some tearing, ripping sounds from behind the stump as you all are in this clearing.
Damn it, we forgot the shovels.
So, I know this isn't one of the ones we talked about. But would I have a form that's good at digging or good at burrowing?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. Jungle. I don't have that one up anymore. Let's see.
Let's see. Island.
So,
the
Anteater?
Yeah, you could go with sort of a something like an like a sort of tapir or kind of wild boar that could kind of like brute force dig down, or you could go with something more like a burrowing insect, like a dung beetle, something like that. If as far as your understanding, you don't exactly know what the size or kind of qualities of the thing you're looking for are, but that would. You might be able to at least go down and see how deep it is, and where it is, and kind of get a sense of what's down there.
Okay, so I don't necessarily have anything that could scoop up
You do. Yeah, you could go with like a tapir or boar. That would be kind of like brute force digging down into it. You don't know what this thing is like. So it kind of depends on what your approach might be. If you were going to try and go the more careful, seek things out first route, or just dig. Up to you.
Can I discern realities while this is happening?
Yes, absolutely. What?
And I wanted to spout lore while this was happening.
Okay, all right. So we're gonna make those rolls. So discern realities plus wisdom.
Holy shit! I just
Yeah?
managed a 7. So I get to ask 1, right?
Okay. Yep. You
Okay.
get to ask one question.
What should I be on the lookout for?
Okay. What should we be on lookout for? Let's see. You should be on the lookout for this fragment of a god.
Okay.
To be honest.
All right. But he's not getting like there's
You're not-
traps, there's peril. Okay.
You're not getting any sense of traps. You're getting a sense of you're going after a dangerous bit of something that's broken and shattered and might have sharp edges.
Good to know.
Yep. What was the spout lore roll?
A 10.
A 10! Oh my goodness. Keep rolling really well. That's beautiful. All right. What are you spouting lore about? What do you want to know about?
I want to know about gods and religions, specifically, earth, sky, and sun.
Okay, you want to know about the earth, the sky, and the sun.
Yes, I do.
So, you're from a city. You have probably had at least passing acquaintance with sort of religious orders and that type of thing. You know, there are lots of stories about this trio. They're kind of like the central pillars of the natural world. And you know, they tend to not always get along. The earth is solid and heavy and wants things to stay the same. The sky is changeable and capricious, and the sun is just bright and hot and sometimes too much. Like the sun, if there is too much sun, the earth dries out and it cracks and it burns and there are no crops. If the sun is too bright, the sky goes cloudless and pale and you can't see it anymore. And that makes people nervous and angry and tends to cause fights and riots. You know, they don't get along. And you know, because of that, the fragment of the sun that you're looking for, you think, you're not exactly sure which half of it's going to be. You know that the sun has a lot of different qualities. It is a light in the darkness, but you're finding this fragment in the day, and so you think it might be, for one thing, too hot to touch. It's probably going to be the more dangerous side of things, the more volatile, the more, this is the sun in the day, this is not the sun at night.
Right.
So, you think you probably shouldn't touch it.
Oh,
I'm thinking of this, and then what is April doing?
April, yes!
so I consider various possible forms, and then I see a hawk diving in, grabbing a snake, and I can talk to animals.
Yes.
Tell me if I'm misunderstanding this, but can I parlay with the insects and snakes that are over there using the leverage of the hawk might eat you to get them to go dig and investigate?
Oh my goodness. All right, I love it. Make that roll.
Okay.
Aaron
What
MVP.
The charisma. Okay.
Yeah, I think with
MVP for potentially just not succeeding at something. I haven't rolled yet.
let's try it.
Okay, that's a...
Plus your charisma.
Okay, that's a 9.
9? Okay, that's pretty good. They need concrete assurance of your promise right now. So are you willing to sick the bird on another animal?
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
I'll ask the bird. I don't know if Kiriel can understand me, but I'll ask him. If that's the concrete assurance.
Tyrell cannot understand you because he does not speak Hawk. He can tell that you're talking to his bird, though. Yeah, but
I feel like this also is not that unusual.
no, this has probably happened before, given kind of the group relationships. Yeah. So April says something to your hawk and sort of turns at you and like puffs up and does the please. Like hawks can't do the puppy eye thing, but he definitely does that. Like that's the sense you're getting. This is like, and you say go ahead.
Yep.
Okay. And he pounces on an insect this time. Something with too many legs. Just long and there's too many legs. And the rest of the insects rush for it. And you all see this tide of insects sort of swarm up from that stump and flow toward this pile of disturbed earth and dive underneath. And there's a flare of bright, bright light. And you all have to kind of like squint and turn away a little bit. And then when the light settles, you can see a glowing fragment of an egg, the lower, like, bottom half of the egg. And it's sort of, the glow is fading, and you see hundreds of insects dead. Sort of all burst from their exoskeletons, kind of seeping into the earth. But you have an egg. You have a half of a sun.
I'm assuming that the air around, like, our environment has grown noticeably warmer as well.
Noticeably warmer, and there is a smell. It's not a good smell. Yeah, it's crickets. It's thousands of crickets left in the hot sun, which I have smelled. It's not a good smell.
I feel sorry for you for having smelled that's particular.
It's a smell. It smells bad, but you can see this bright light sort of fading and this egg slowly cooling. And based on your roll from before, you know that it's probably safe to touch now. It's sort of that initial danger of
looks at it for a few seconds, tilts her head again. Oh, I did it.
Amaya very cautiously touches just her fingertips to the egg.
Okay, you have to walk up to this. It's sort of a little ways away, and as you walk, you all can hear sort of the crunching of shells underneath as you have to step on these things to get close. And you sort of cautiously put your hand out, and you can feel that hum of nervous, like, on edge energy slowly fading as you put your fingers closer, and it is still vibrating with energy.
Literally
Tayrell's gonna
100 million atomic bombs.
What was that?
Literally holding 100 million atomic bombs right here.
Yes. Tyrell, what were you doing?
Tayrell's gonna pull out a water skin.
Okay.
And just very cautiously get up and be like, should we try and maybe see if it needs cooling off?
I think it's already cooled off. It's safe to the touch, at least. Though it doesn't feel safe.
Give me a No, I'm gonna roll this in with the other roll. Yeah, because that was a 10 plus. So the egg is safe to touch. If you know, though, that it is currently unstable, it is half of an egg. Half of an egg is not strong. An egg is fairly strong. It's designed to be. But half of an egg is not. And you know that you'll have to be careful with this. It is probably safe to touch, but depending on what else you all do when you're searching for the other half of this egg and getting and putting it in the well to kind of fuse this all, you don't know. You'll have to be careful.
Can I try a discern realities on the egg?
Yes. Go for it. Give me that plus wisdom.
Okay.
Oh, I misspoke earlier. This is actually the top half of the egg. Sorry, it's the pointed end.
Okay. Mm-hmm. The
Yep.
narrower end. Yep.
Yep, the narrower end.
Tara would like to discern realities on the surrounding area, not necessarily
Okay.
the egg. But
All right.
let
So let's
April
start-
go first.
Yep. So April, what was the roll?
7.
7? Okay, you get one
Same.
question.
Yeah. I'm gonna go for essentially. This is not quite phrased the way I want it to be phrased, and that is frustrating.
If you want to rephrase it, you can ask me, and I'll see if it's too similar to something else or trying to combine two. So go for
Right.
it. What are you trying to ask?
I'm essentially trying. I guess it's sort of a what should I be on the lookout for, but trying to figure out what the egg is feeling and how I can make it feel better because it's also
Okay.
a person, right?
Yes. All right. I like this. All right. So you're trying to sense mode of the egg.
Yes.
Insight check the egg. All right. I like this.
Solid.
So it is. It feels very much like Larch, actually. Like Larch was on edge when he and Terrell came out of that tunnel, and Terrell let him attack, and that felt good. That felt really good. He's got food now. The egg is happy that it let out that energy, that sort of burst of light that you all saw. It is glad it did that. And it's still, it doesn't know, this fragment of a god is not sure what's going to happen next. And so it doesn't know what it's going to do next. But it is glad it got to attack something.
So I can't talk. Actually, I don't know if I can talk to eggs, so I'm gonna try it because eggs are plant.
I can.
Right? You can talk to eggs, yes.
Maya could talk to an egg. But first we're going to go to Terrell. Because Terrell was...
Terrell rolled a goddamn double sixes.
Nice!
So 13.
Okay, and you're kind of looking around at the surroundings.
Right. First, he would like to know what here is useful or valuable to me, particularly in transporting the egg elsewhere.
Transporting the egg. Okay. So the egg is useful. One. That's the goal. That's a good one. It's a good job. There's also some kind of sort of reedy bushes off to a clump, kind of a little bit further away from this clearing. There's sort of a swampy dip area. You think you could use that to kind of form sort of a mat or a cradle that would make carrying this thing safely a lot easier. It would kind of cushion it from any sort of bumps and sort of upsets on the road.
Mm-hmm.
So you think that would be useful?
Okay.
Yep.
Second question, what here is not what it appears to be?
Okay. Not what it appears to be. So, for one thing, you can immediately see as you sort of like concentrate on looking around, there's a flickering form around that half of the egg. You see a half a person. You see half of this god. And similar, you don't know what Amaya saw. You have no idea that she had a vision. But you see essentially that sort of half of a person. And this half has a fist clenched, sort of clutching white-knuckled fingers, a pair of broken arrows.
Okay.
Yep. And then third question,
what happened here recently, kind of in the idea of how did this half of the god end up here in the first place?
Okay. So you see that sort of figure flickering, so kind of like superimposed with the form of the egg that you're all kind of focused on right now.
Mm-hmm.
And you see it flicker, and you see sort of this, you see it whole and standing up, but you're only still seeing the one half of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like your camera's at the wrong angle. You're only seeing one side of this person, and it's this side. And you see sort of gesticulating like angrily, and then those two arrows shoot into the side, and it sort of falters and staggers a bit, and then it is ripped apart from whatever other half there is. You can't see. You can't see the other half.
All right. Well, in that case, Taylor's gonna go make a basket.
Okay, so Taylor goes off to make a basket. Amaya, what were you doing? You kind of approach this, and you can feel this vibrating, like, concern energy. And you can, in fact, speak to an egg.
Yeah. I very reverently, because I'm aware that this is a god, speak to it, like, reverently and calm and soothing. My lord, we are only here to serve you.
Okay. Give me... Alright. Not yet. Good. Is what you hear back. And it's a loud sort of voice. Good.
It's about what I would expect from a god. Deafening, ear-ringing.
Yes.
We are going to find your other half and then reunite the halves in a well in the center of the forest.
I don't need my other half. Take me to the well. I will grow the rest of my body back.
You don't need your other half?
I don't need it.
I'm not going to say that to a god.
Are you sure?
You are in an awful rush, my lord.
Yes. I have been lying here for ages. I need to get back and take my revenge.
Revenge. Against your brothers?
Yes. They did this to me.
They sent us to you.
They did this to me. Why do they want me back? So they can do it again?
Because they feel guilty.
I don't believe you. How do you know they feel guilty?
Personal experience. Having many, many siblings of my own. Plus just the way they behaved when they came to us.
I'm going to have you make a parlay roll now. You have leverage on this because it's a half of a god.
Mm-hmm.
Also just half of an egg. And it can't really move by itself.
I mean, it could get really, really hot and burn us all alive.
Yes. but it would still be stuck right where it is, and it wants to get to the well.
Yeah.
And you know how to find it.
That is 6, and is that plus charisma?
Yes.
Okay. So 6 plus. Then I put my charisma 15. 6 plus 1. 7.
7? Okay.
Yeah,
So
concrete assurance of my promise right now.
yep. All right. So you're trying to convince this god that it needs its other half, right?
Right.
Yes. Okay. It is not currently willing to accept its other half. What are you saying to this angry, hurt fragment of a god?
Mm-hmm.
To give...
Hey, Tyrell, give me one of your arrows.
the other parts of itself that it doesn't see as useful another chance.
Tyrell looks up, like, up to his neck and rushes. What?
Give me one of your arrows.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Amaya takes the arrow from Tyrell, and then she holds it out, and she's like, "It's an arrow, right? It's one
Mhm.
piece."
Yes.
And she breaks it,
Ah!
and she's just like, useless by themselves. You can have the pointy bit, but it doesn't have the fletchling to make it fly straight. Or you can have the fletching, but it doesn't have the pointy bit to do any damage.
Fine. And it will accept, and it will allow you to pick it up, and you put it in the basket, and you journey on
I'll
to...
replace your arrow.
Okay.
Sort of sad. Oh, you are down one arrow.
Damn it.
As you travel across the forest,
That was my
not gonna
good
make-
arrow.
yeah,
Why would you give it the
I thought it was going to be like an object lesson, but not a destructive one. Honestly, I thought you were going to threaten him with it.
Yes, me, the mortal, is going to threaten a god.
With a pointy stick.
yes, wonderful. So you have this sort of god, half of a god, in this sort of basket that you're able to carry, and you begin to walk across the forest. This journey is not so much perilous as long, very long, and you have a lot of time to think about what just happened and what you kind of did and the consequences of that, and kind of take a moment as you're walking along to kind of think things through. And on this journey, I want you all to let me know what your character's fears are, your greatest fear, your self-doubt. What makes you nervous going into a fight? What situation do you want to avoid? Something like that.
Okay.
Dead land.
What was that, April?
Do not or cannot grow.
Dead land? Okay.
Yeah.
Failure.
Sure.
Failure. Being unable to protect the people around her.
Also failure, but of protection.
Mm-hmm.
The same as April, really.
Clowns.
Clown.
No, just kidding.
I mean,
That's hilarious.
Fear.
Yes, it
makes
is.
perfect sense.
It is a very sensible fear, but it is not Tyrell's fear. Not so much failure, but the knowledge that there are enough threats in the world that he cannot necessarily prevent the sort of tragedy that happened to him from happening to anybody else. Even if he hunts down the beast and kills it, there are other things capable of doing that sort of thing. And he is one person, and they are many. So reality, I guess.
All right. And so you all kind of walk along, each having your own fears. April, the stickiness of the bugs and the shells continues after you leave the clearing. You can feel it lingering on you. Amaya, you feel the vibration. You're not even carrying the damn thing, but you can feel the vibration of that egg and it sort of vibrating, and you're doubting your ability to convince this thing to let it go. Just let it go. As Terrell is cradling this egg in a basket and staring down at sort of half of part of the world, and doesn't know what this thing will become, doesn't really know what it is, but knows that there's a lot of bad things in the world, and you're a group of 3. Hopefully you got this. 3 plus a hawk, who is flying above, not a care in the world, munching on a snake. As you get to the second site, where you see the bottom half of the egg glowing gently like a fire, like sort of that warm glow, on an island in the middle of a lake with kind of like a rocky shale shore. And the lake is pitch black, kind of gray. There is no, you have this egg is emitting a little bit of light, much kind of more direct beams than the sort of glow of the sky, of the daylight sky above you. And it's the 3 sources of light are all very different from each other, because the egg on the island is glowing softly, and you can barely see it, but you can tell that all of this light, every single source of light, none of this lake is reflecting that, and it's just sort of glassy, flat surface of this lake that's sort of lying there. And you walk up to it, and you have to cross that to get to this egg.
I have a somewhat complicated idea, but if you'll bear with me, I think I can explain it fairly briefly. Larch, fetch!
While Larch is fetching, Amaya picks up a stone and skips it.
Okay. You pick up a scone and skip it. So, as Larch goes across, so, first I'm gonna have, because, Terrell, labor would kind of be the description for being able to pick something up and carry it. Okay. I'm gonna have you make a roll to see if he's able to do that for you. It's gonna be it's an awkward shape. He is a hawk. He has claws. It's kind of a rounded shape. You're not gonna be able to add anything to that.
Okay. Well, he rolled a 9.
Okay.
6 and
All
a 3.
right. Okay. So
It's an egg. He's a bird. There's a level of.
it's about this big, but yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So he's able to. So he swoops down. You see him grab on with his talons as Amaya. You skip a rock across the water, and you can immediately see as it sort of skips and crests. Every single time it skips, you see words like ink words whip up and then subside slowly like syrup back down as the rock sets on the water and then sinks down as Larch grabs onto this egg and begins rising up. So this is weird. Larch needs to make Larch needs to make a parlay roll because things are happening with the egg right now.
Okay.
It's having feelings about this.
I rolled a 6 and a 4.
Okay. All right. Nice. These are good rolls. Okay.
Larch is the best.
All right. As okay. This is good. As Larch picks up this egg, and you all can immediately feel the change in the air as it begins that sort of, and this is a lower pitched vibration than the one you were sensing before, Amaya, sort of sets up in this egg, and you can see Larch dip and lurch and kind of falter for a second, and then he continues flying back with this egg and drops it at your feet, Ariel. And it thuds heavy on the ground. Like you can feel that sort of impact, like dropping a stone. April, were you trying to say something?
Oh no, I was preparing in case Larch was having issues. I could
Sweet. Yeah.
swim,
Okay.
but not necessary at this point.
It thuds, and you don't feel any of that vibration anymore. It is like a stone.
Ah. Maya, do you need to speak to this half as well?
I think I might need to. Amaya leans down and, just like before, touches her fingertips very gently to the surface of the egg.
Mm-hmm. All right.
And I guess
Okay.
I'm going to discern reality about the egg.
Yes. Go for it.
Can I see if the lake is water or water-like or?
Yeah, that's going to be discern realities as well.
Got a 10.
Okay, nice. You touch this egg, and it's not an egg anymore. It's changed. Something about it has changed. It doesn't feel... It feels like a stone. Like... So... You can hear words through the air, and you can kind of tell when someone's distressed by putting your hand on their shoulder, and if they're shaking, you know that something's wrong. This is a rock, and you can't tell what it's feeling. It's shut down. Something about how it was retrieved or brought over has shut it down. Something's gone off. Feel free to ask me 2 more questions because I know it was probably vague, but I'm gonna go to April right now. You're trying to figure out about the...
Which I got a 13 on. Because
Nice! Oh my
back.
goodness! This is beautiful. Okay. What questions do you have?
So, The first one, I'm not sure which it falls best into. That's your
Okay.
call. I'm trying to figure out, is this water? So I guess what's not as it seems might be
Yeah.
the right.
Definitely not water. It is not water. That is not behaving like water. That is not moving like water. It appears to be. You saw as Amaya skipped stones across it. It looks like ink, but like slow moving, like sticky old ink. And you saw words come out of it. With that roll, you saw names.
Names I recognized or just names? Sorry.
Based on your kind of history and how you grew up and lived, you know things like true names, like you know what a rock calls it, you know what an acorn calls itself, you know the names of all the fish. You don't know people's names.
Well, there's two of them I know. Tyrael and Armaya are right here.
You don't see either of their names.
Cool.
Yep.
That kind of what I was trying to be vague and like meaningful, asking if my party members' names were in the water.
No, you don't see their names.
Cool. Second question is, who's in control here? Where is control sort of, especially about like the egg and the water, like where is the life force, the control?
They don't seem connected. So from what you can tell, the lake appears to be kind of like a barrier in place between whoever is searching for this thing and this half. And within the lake itself, there are a couple names that are kind of, you can see them swimming like sharks. Now that you're kind of aware that this is not water and what it is, they are too deep for you to tell what names they are, but there are several names in there that are prowling. Amaya.
Like the eggs issue was it moved across this water?
No, that not moving across the water. You saw Tyrell or Larch sort of falter and sort of claws tighten, and you're in tune with the natural world and you can kind of speak the languages of animals. You know he said something to the egg, and that seems to be what's
all right. So last question, because I do have one more. What should I be on the lookout for?
That's stone now, and stone is brittle. All right, Amaya, you had some questions about this egg as well, the stone now. Do you think of anything more?
What here is useful or valuable to me?
Okay. You know, so you know you talk to the other half of the egg.
Right.
It doesn't seem like it's going to be possible to talk to this half. You're going to have to do something to break down the walls that this egg has put up. Like, it's put up stone walls around itself.
Okay.
And based on how, like, fragile and tenuous and fragile, fragile's the right word, fragile the other egg was, and kind of what you could see of this one before this all happened, you think cracking the stone is a very bad idea.
Right.
You know that you can take water and you can wear stone away. It takes a while, but it might work. Or, yeah, that's the best option you can think of right now.
Taro wants to dip his thumb in the water. That's not water.
Okay.
And see what happens.
All right. That is going to be just plus charisma for me. Are you trying to do anything in particular by this?
See if he can just by touching the substance get a better sense of what it is and figure out if there's anything he needs to do with it to the egg.
Okay. All right. In that case, besides the charisma roll, also give me a spout lore. Because you're trying to get kind of a sense of what's the most useful thing about this. So plus intelligence. What was the charisma roll first?
The charisma roll was a 10. I have a -1, which makes it a 9.
Okay.
The spout lore is intelligence, which is a flat 8.
Okay. Flat 8. All right. I will remind you all at this point, because stuff's happening, that you do have automatic successes. None of you have used them yet. Do you want to use them on any of these? You know that a 7 to 9 is a mixed success.
Yeah, I'll take my 2 mixed successes, because none of these feel like they're actually in keeping with my archetype, per se.
Okay, cool. Sweet. All right. So you... that was a 9 on the other one, right?
9 on the charisma one, yeah, and then an 8 on the spout lore.
Thank you. All right. So you feel an immediate sort of crawling sensation. You get the whispers of names and names and names, and you recognize some of them because you grew up kind of in going in and out of towns. You had to stop places to get supplies. You had to. You were an apprentice to be a merchant. You had to talk to people. You knew how. You had to learn how to figure out who people were in a town. Figure out who you should talk to get the best deals. That type of thing. You recognize some of these names. These are names of lots and lots and lots of people. All of them deceased. You find a couple from your village.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. Couple from your village. And you pull back, and you can see a couple, the same thing that April saw. You see a couple of those deeper, and you now know stronger names sort of swim past as you try and figure out what use this might be. And mixed success. So on that, you know that these are names. These are the names of lots and lots of different people. And you know that some of these people were your people. These names are why you're doing what you're doing. This is why you're out here. You're hunting monsters to try and keep them safe, to stop this from happening to someone else. And you hope, against all hope, that this half of a god, this half of the sun that spreads warmth and light and guides people, still has enough consciousness to care about all of these names. That's what you have.
Do I have any of the ink fluid left on my thumb when I pulled it out?
No. You kind of pulled your hand back before that could happen. You kind of had the shock of discovering what this was. You'd have to dip in again to try and get some more of it.
He's going to... Now, do I feel like it was the contact with the fluid that sort of gave me this realization of who and what this was?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
He's going to pick up the stone and start to dip it in the water. Fluid.
Okay.
And let it hear it.
Okay. You're going to let it do? All right, you're going to dip it in everything. Okay. All right.
Keeping a good hold of it, but yes.
Okay. This is going to be just a single die roll. Before you roll, do you want it to be an even number or an odd number?
Odd.
Odd. Okay, go for it.
Damn it, that's an 8.
Okay. All right. So, you dip this half of the egg in, and you see these names swirl about it, and you can feel it shift. You can feel it's starting to do something, that it's no longer a stone. It begins to vibrate and become feeling again. And then one of the names from below rises up. And yes, April.
Can I turn into a piranha and go after that thing?
Yes. Okay. Beautiful. Oh, I'm so excited. All right.
I've been trying to turn into a piranha since we met a lake.
Yes. All right.
Legit.
Okay.
2d6 plus my wisdom, right?
For the change, yes. So that's going to determine how many holds you have. So basically, how much you can do with this form.
Yeah.
Yep. All right.
All right. I guess I rolled it in the thing when I tried the description there. So that's a 13, which gives me 3.
3. Okay, you have 3 holds to spend.
Also, for the I changed out the physical dice just to be honest, because I don't know why I was rolling so well.
It's okay.
But I rolled like one thing below a 3, so I felt like it was fair. But these are the digital dice anyways.
That is okay.
And I want to intercept this thing.
Okay, that is going to be so let's see. Okay. Yep. You want to intercept this thing. Give me a sec. I'm just going to read to figure out which one I want you to do real quick.
You mentioned something about wanting the piranha to have a nom 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 ability. I don't know if that applies.
Oh, yes. So that would be specifically for hack and slash. So that's like attacking.
Sorry.
Yep.
Never mind.
Yeah. I'm going to say this is going to be a defy danger because you're trying to move fast to intercept this thing before it gets to the egg. That's going to be a plus dexterity. And I'll give you I'll give you a plus anything on this because you're fast, you're a fish, this is your kind of native environment, but this is a shark, basically. It's also got kind of those abilities, so it's just going to be plus your dexterity.
That's fine.
Yep.
Yeah, so plus nothing. 7?
Okay, so, worst outcome, hard bargain, or ugly choice. So, let's see. So, the shark of a name might reach the egg first. That's an option. You wouldn't be in its way before it got there. It would not hurt you. You would be fine, but it would get the egg, or it would begin to get the egg. You can intercept this thing, but it would injure you. Or you can sacrifice yourself, and that would give, that there are not enough. There's the other kind of names that you had seen previously. You took a moment to kind of like see what was in the water. You know that the other ones are far enough away that you would probably be able to lift this back up. It would probably give them enough time, but you'd have to sacrifice yourself. What are you doing?
I'm a manic pixie dream girl. I sacrificed myself, obviously.
Okay.
That is what we're for.
Okay. At the same time, let's see. So Tyrell had dunked the egg. April dived in. Amaya were you doing something at the same time, or because I know that one of your things is protecting April. So.
Oh yeah, there's the bond action. I don't know if that actually applies anymore, but
This is, yes. Bond would give you plus things to kind of like fulfill bonds that you have with another character. So, might. What are you going to do?
I have a reach weapon. So, yeah, I would love to move to aid April there. And I would totally love to use my shining moment to do it.
Okay, all right. So, are you trying to prevent April from basically like slamming herself in front of a speeding bullet? Are you trying to kill the name itself? If you take that option, by the way, I am going to let you know that even though you will be definitely successful at that, that name will not be able to attack the egg. It may still have a chance to do something to you. Just going to let you know that. Or are you trying to do something else?
I said that's fine if I take,
You
whatever.
Okay. So, all right, there's lots of self-sacrificing here. Oh, you wonderful people. Okay. So, all this happens at once. Duck, fish, yeah. Basically just like that. As Amaya, you slam your halberd down. You have to protect April. She's gonna, that's not okay. And you slam into this shark, and you can feel the anger and malice of this name, the name of someone who wants something for themselves. This is their chance. That egg should be theirs. This person is trying to prevent them. They're going to bite, and then you slam down, and it's going to recoil at you. So please give me a plus charisma roll, because you're resisting basically another consciousness from interacting with you, and I'm going to give you a plus 2 because you're using like a bond.
That's plus 2 plus
Yes.
my charisma.
Mhm.
Okay, so 7 plus 2 plus 2 equals what, 11?
A lot. Okay.
Yep.
And it dies. You can all see this sort of energy writhe up and then shrivel and scatter to ash as this ink sort of dries on this halberd, which now sticking out of the ground. And you can see this sort of script all up and down sort of the shaft of this pole arm as it's stuck in. And Terrell,
Yeah.
back out.
Yes. Yes, I do.
And it was not it because you just dunked it in without trying to figure out which names were in there. It's beautiful. I love this all so much. And you see it get sort of basically like sieve out through the egg, and as it does, the stone changes to living shell again, and the glow starts up, and you have successfully found this egg, and it's glowing a warm glow. And Amaya, you were kind of worried about it shattering and breaking. It's strong. It's whole.
Okay.
Where's our fish?
Heart. The fish is still in the water.
April!
So April, you're in this water. Are you immediately trying to get out? You can automatically revert to your form if you want to, but are you staying in? This is the closest you've been to people, and it's kind of, it's not like being like, besides that shark, these are all kind of acting neutrally toward you. Like, they're not
thing I can do, but I'd like to like discern reality for if there's something we need down here.
okay. Yeah, go for it.
A well. Do we need something from this for the well? But does that make any sense?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, I like it.
So that's plus wisdom because it's discern reality.
Yes.
That's going to be a 9.
Nice. Okay. So trying to see if there's anything that's useful or valuable.
I guess it's somewhere between useful or valuable and what happens next.
Okay. Yep. So you know that there's a lot of names here and a lot of people, which is, it's good to know all the animals that are living in your forest. It's good to know who everyone is, what their wants, what their needs are, how you can help them grow into their full potential. But that's not what... None of these are the gods' names. None of these names are bright, shining, glittering, anything like that. These are all mortals. You think what you have there, those two halves, that you can see through this murky light filtering through this not water. You can see the glow, and you see the bright glow kind of left on the shore as everyone sort of dived for this kind of crisis moment. You think you have everything that you need back on the shore.
Yeah, I'll leave.
Yeah. Okay. And you see April emerge, sort of dripping sort of names off of her.
Maya reaches out. She grabs April by the back of her shirt, I guess, and lifts and out of the water.
Daryl's sitting there with the 2 eggs, one in the basket, one just, there, and is very curious about what happens if you drink out of this lake.
Okay.
Oh, you are not... Of course we go to the same place. Will, after being plopped down out of the water, go over to Terrell and pat, pat, pat. Explain next time, maybe?
Yes. In fact, maybe right now. I think what they need is a 4th brother.
Earth, sky, sun.
Water.
Earth. Water. Or maybe moon?
There are 2 here that are 1, but 2. Is that what they need?
No, I think these 2 halves definitely make up 1.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think...
No, these are both the sun.
Because having the sun back is necessary.
This isn't water.
This isn't water, no.
Mortal stories. We're going to a well.
That's what I was thinking.
I'm going to spout lore again.
Okay.
I would like to do the same.
Okay.
Why the hell not? I have a -1 and 7.
7? Okay.
God, what the fuck am I rolling? With my -1.
5. Nice.
I got a 9.
Okay. All right.
I want to spout lore about how having water basically fixes the problem of too much sun interacting with both sky and earth.
Clouds. They're a thing.
Yeah.
It cools hot tempers. It makes things grow.
So I rolled a 10, and there's something that's been sort of going through the back of April's mind is Earth was frustrated with the mushrooms, which are healing mushrooms, and that was because there wasn't sun.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to put that together, I guess.
Okay.
If there's anything to put together.
Okay. You're trying to... Okay. Got it.
Yeah, I totally thought that one was Sky.
10 on this?
Oh, that might have been Sky. I thought it was the one that was dragging along the ground, kicked a mushroom.
It
No,
picked
it was
out a mushroom. The Earth did.
Yeah.
Earth was the one with the dragging knuckles.
And commented about this is what's happening because
Mm-hmm.
put them back together.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And those
There's
mushrooms.
too much moisture because there's no sun to dry it up.
I think those are concepts that sort of fit into a narrative of. But yeah, I rolled the 10.
Okay, you rolled a 10. All right. Yes. So that lets you know that, yeah, Earth feels the imbalance of this. You need to have sun and water to grow things, and you know this really well as a druid, someone who lives in a tropical environment. You need both, and if you don't have both, if you don't have enough sun, things rot and turn sour. If you have too much sun, they dry out and wither and die. You need something in between, and maybe the water's already there. It's just not in the right place. And you think if you go to the well, you might find something.
All right.
Because it was a well. It's a well. It had to have water in it somehow before.
Next place. I am wandering in that direction.
Okay. Amaya, I think you spotted Laura as well. Was there something specifically you were asking about?
I did.
Oh, you
Yes.
did? Okay.
I did sprout lore. I got a 7, and the thing I wanted to sprout lore about was, gods particularly, to figure out if there is a water god. Because I heard everything about sky, earth, and sun, but I didn't hear anything about a water before. Or I didn't think anything about a water before.
Yeah. So... there was never a god of water. There usually, when there's not enough rain, and you've seen this happen a couple times in the city you're from. It's not enough rain, and you don't farm yourself, but you know how important it is. You know that you need this balance. Even if it doesn't affect you, it's still important to care about these things. And you know that when that happens, all the people get together and they dance.
And I know the dance?
Happens. Yes, you do.
Okay.
Right? And so you all head to the well in the exact center of this forest, as of course it is. And you see this ring of stones about 5 feet wide, sort of moss covered. Around here, it's actually fairly dry looking, and you don't see so many of those mushrooms that were kind of leeching the life out of most of the rest of this forest. And there's some sky overhead, and you look down into the well, and you see darkness.
Gonna look to Maya. Are they ready?
I gently place my fingertips on both halves of the egg, and I say, we are at the well, but I have a question.
Yes, yes. You get both voices at the same time, both from the same person, but vastly different intonations and feelings behind it.
Why did your brothers do this? Do you think?
You get back from the angry, forceful side of the sun. They've always hated me. And from the warm, comforting side, you get, I messed something up.
What did you mess up?
As you talk to the one side of the egg.
Yeah. Anger and force don't generally tell the truth very well.
Well, I mean, you can tell if they tell the truth. You have a thing.
Yeah, I do have a thing.
Right. You do have a thing. Do you want to use the thing?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, you use the thing. Paladins can tell if someone is telling the truth. You're both telling the truth. They are telling two different halves of the same story. Each of them does not see the other half, though. They do not seem aware or caring about what the other half of them is saying. And the warm side says, I think I wanted to fix it, and it didn't quite work.
Fix what?
Well, there were these mushrooms that just kept growing, and it was going to cause problems.
You mean the mushrooms that are all around us now?
Yes. Not those ones. It was, and you get an image of sort of these kind of green mushrooms that you can tell are poisonous. And you know this because Tyrell pointed them out and explained in excruciating detail. This is, you can use this to it's like a slow sort of neurotoxin, and it's great.
At my bequest, he pointed this out.
Yes. And you can see that they're sort of, right now, all the ones that you can see are sort of attached to this sort of kind of pale white mushroom that, April, you know. It's one that you picked, but you picked it so that you only got half of the, you got the sort of half of the mushroom that was not poisonous. You managed to do that somehow.
Okay. Jesus. So I'm assuming, this is my guess at what happened. You grew too hot in an attempt to kill the mushrooms, and your brother didn't like that.
They both sigh, and yes.
My headphones are gonna die.
Okay, we are almost done. I hope they will last that long.
They are increasing their low battery.
Okay.
So I will be
pause
right
real quick.
Yeah,
Okay.
I will be right back.
Okay, no problem.
So sort of while this is happening, I might be of nature, but I'm not. I'm more loose. I'm more sky-like in general. I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
generally one to be bound down to the weight of things. So I'm gonna try and turn into a butterfly.
Okay. Perfect. Give me your roll for shapeshifter.
All right. This is just a wisdom-y one. Okay, I'm still rolling. I promise these are different dice. 13 again.
Nice. All right, you got 3 holds. You are a butterfly. So you are light,
Mhm.
and yeah, light. You have
My
wings.
wings don't have a typical butterfly pattern. They instead have sort of a flower pattern because
Mhm. Oh yeah, definitely.
And
you can flip between things very easily.
yeah. So I'm sort of I can't talk to everything.
Mhm.
I'm telling the sky, in the sky, sort of at the flow of the sky, if you want to apologize, you want to try and understand.
All right. Erica, can you hear us?
I can.
Okay, sweet. We have sound. All right. April is flitting as a butterfly between Earth and sky, trying to get them to apologize. So that is going to be
This needs to happen.
yes.
So I'm trying to parlay.
Okay, perfect. All right. And yeah, they know the stakes of this. So I'm going to say you have enough to manipulate them with give me that roll.
Do you feel like this is enough in my archetype that I can use that exceptional triumph thing?
You're turning into a butterfly to get people to talking to each other? Yes, that is a Manny Pixie Dream Girl. Uh-huh. Yeah, uh-huh. Yep. Mm-hmm. All right. So that's an automatic success.
I'm trying to change the perspective of gods because
Beautiful. All right. So
Tyrell's just hanging out because he knows that if the monster is going to attack at any point, it's now.
okay, you're on the lookout. Paranoid.
Paranoid AF.
Okay. As sky and earth sort of materialize on either side, as April, you're flitting back and forth, and you see them appear, and both sort of I'm sorry, and reach out their hands toward the eggs as Amaya, let's see, you were talking to each half, and I can't remember exactly where I left off. What you were trying to do? I believe you were.
I had just said what they had done, which was basically that they had grown too hot to kill the mushrooms.
Yep.
And their brothers didn't like that because that hurt them. So I let the brothers touch the eggs because this is an important moment. Yay, family bonding and apologizing to each other, and contact is very important, and that stuff. You can tell that Amaya has resolved many sibling conflicts.
Yes.
And she's just like, sorry for what?
Beautiful. All right, that's gonna be a parlay because you're trying to convince him to like just I can apologize. It's awkward.
Amaya is based on the premise of she is in terrible danger, and can I try and do the bond aid thing?
What's your bond with Amaya again? It's
sort of the spirits have warned me of a terrible danger, I think is
Yes, this
spoke
would.
to me the great danger that follows Amaya.
Yeah, there's a bunch of gods, sharp things. There was light. I'm gonna say yes. So take your +2 for that. What is your
great? Too many gods interested in Amaya.
A lot of gods.
So I'm attempting the parlay.
Mm-hmm. So plus charisma.
7 + 2, so 9.
Okay. So
And
that
then you got another +2 from Aaron aiding, right? Or
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh,
You-
so
you had a
11.
bond. Okay, there we go. All right. As they say, sorry for trying to fix everything myself. And the egg reunite, the egg sort of slots together and sort of twists a little bit and sort of materializes into the form of the sun god, and the other two sort of step back for a moment, and
Amaya also steps back.
and there's a moment of tension, and then they hug,
Yes.
and that
Very
is
good.
the end of this story. So say goodbye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you
Bye-bye.
all for listening. Have a good night.